Okay, Alex, so I want to give you a few tidbits before I send you the videos of things so you don't have to hear me say it over and over when you watch the videos. One, when you're stretching, I want you, if we weight lift and we push and we pull, and oftentimes when people are stretching something, they're doing the same thing. So for instance, if you're trying to reach down and touch your toes, we're not forcing ourselves to reach down and touch the toes, and it takes practice. The difference is, instead of forcing, you want to eventually relax into that stretch, and you're going to be able to get deeper, whether we're stretching legs, whether we're stretching arms. If you find that your body's shaking in these stretches, the first couple of times that's completely normal. But after the few times that you've done the same stretches over and over, you shouldn't have that shaking in the muscles. So if you're still shaking every time you're doing it, you're probably resisting. And so keeping that in mind anytime you're doing any stretching whatsoever. Also, we've got the two different types of stretching that we kind of talked about a little bit when we were talking on FaceTime. You've got your regular stretching, your muscles are warm, so after you've gone on a walk or a jog or you've lifted weights, and that stretching is going to increase the muscle length, and that's a good thing. We want that. But you can also stretch when you haven't warmed up the muscles. If you decide to do these stretches cold, is what I call it, you're gonna be holding them longer. So honestly, for 1 to 3 minutes on some of them. So proceed with caution, right? Don't go into touching your toes for 3 minutes because that's gonna hurt your back. But if you're doing the on your back leg stretches and you wanna hold that for 1 minute to 2, then that's a good thing. And that's gonna get into the tendons and the ligaments, because the muscles are gonna stay short, so that stretching is gonna come into that deeper connective tissue. So neither one is more right or more wrong. It's just kind of what fits and what you need in that moment. I say do it while you're warm, especially to start with, because you want that muscle lengthening first and foremost. And then maybe as we get more flexible, you can think about doing more of a yin style. It's Y-I-N, yin. So anyways, just some tidbits there. The props, you're gonna definitely want to get some kind of strap. You can use, like I said, a belt or tie. What I use at the studio are these cloth straps that have loops in them, and that's because sometimes you can get your hands in a loop and you don't have to hold on to the strap so hard, or you can hook a foot in there if we're doing like a deep quad stretch. But I get these from Amazon. They used to be $10, or probably $100 now. A yoga block, just a lightweight foam block is best, not those heavy duty cork ones. They're hard to manipulate, but I mean, you can use anything you have, one of your kids' little stepping stools, just something to bring the floor up closer to you. Using a prop is not cheating, it's making the pose more available for your body and for whatever you're going through. So some of us use props even though maybe we can go and touch our toes. We use the block instead because we're able to get a deeper stretch because we've set ourselves up so that we can relax into the pose, if that kind of makes sense. And then for you, with a lot of hamstring tightness, you're gonna wanna have a blanket, just a small blanket available, so that sometimes you can sit on it, sometimes you can put it under your knee when we're stretching forward, and that way that knee's not trying to push into the ground and getting any hyperextension. So those are just some tips that you're probably going to want to always kind of have handy with you, especially as you're starting off. You'll find what you want, what you don't want, what helps, what doesn't help. And then I take an exercise mat and I cut them into little rectangles like this, because if you're ever on your hands and knees, it pads your kneecaps. For a lot of us, sitting cross-legged hurts the ankles, and so you're gonna prop up under the ankles. So you want to be as comfortable as you possibly can. Again, we're trying to relax into the stretches. Okay, so I'm gonna stop that. I think that's pretty much the tips, and then I'll send you a core strengthening, a flexibility, and then just a little bit of active movement. And they're all gonna be very short. And if you get bored with them and you need to change it up, let me know and we can add on from there. So, but yeah, thank you so much for choosing me. And I'll stop this one, send it out, and then we'll get started on the others. All right. And no, I'm not gonna edit and cut and all that kind of stuff because it's just us.